Hello and welcome for another week of StarCityGames.com Legacy videos. I'm Drew Levin, and this week I will be playing Stasis. Blue-red Stasis with Ral Zarek and a bunch of counter spells and a bunch of bounce spells, and it's basically going to be a lot of pain and agony and suffering for our opponent. So let's get right into it. We have a 5-land hand with a Reliquary Tower, which is like fairly marginal. You sort of only really want one when you've got Stasis going and you're drawing a lot of cards, and so you don't really want to discard your cards. Sometimes you return lands to your hand, and so you can only get them out at one per turn. So it's you draw a lot of cards that you can't get out of your hand. And we've got Jason Chain of Vapor, but no Stasis, no counter spells. So we're going to mulligan this one and look for something a little bit better. We drew a sort of the awkward other end of this deck's curve, which is all of the 4-drops. So we have 4 Ral Zarek and 2 Jace, and then 4 Ancestral Vision that are sort of a 1-drop, but also sort of a 4-drop, since, like a 4-drop, they aren't really doing anything until about turn 5. So we're going to end up keeping this one, but we're not super thrilled about it. Fortunately, we play 24 lands, which is more than most decks in Legacy. So we're going to suspend this Ancestral Vision and hope that the game goes decently long. We're not really worried about... Our opponent suspends Rift Bolt. So they are trying to get us dead as quickly as possible. So we unfortunately do not have a second land, which is going to be really bad for us against this burn deck. So our plan against burn is probably to set up Stasis as quickly as possible, and we're going to need Ral Zarek to turn off all of their islands. But it looks like they're playing Burn with Young Pyromancer. Which is an interesting choice. I think we probably have to Chain of Vapor this one right now. We just can't afford to let it get out of hand. And they have nothing that they can really copy. So it's just an unsummon, but we can't afford to take the hit and keep dealing with it next turn. So definitely dazing the Sulfuric Vortex, and for how awkwardly our mana has come out, or not come out, we're surprisingly still in this. So we're going to take a few turns of getting touched up by whatever it is that our opponent's doing, but we're getting a lot of extra cards. If we can get Ral Zarek down, then we have a fighting chance here. It's just whether or not we can play enough defense in the interim to make that happen. Or whether we're just going to get overrun by our opponent's board presence. So we're going to target ourselves. I'm going to play this Reliquary Tower and pass it back with 9 in hand. And I think we're probably casting Brainstorm in our, and actually probably in their combat step, just so that we can redraw a land. We're not force willing a 3-point spell. We want to hold on to a force will for a 4-point spell. Like they have Flame Rift and Fire Blast. So now that, we aren't fighting the card restriction, this brainstorm is just fine as is. So we're getting bolted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Okay, so our force will doesn't get turned off here. But we're not drawing stasis next turn, which is, I think, just a death sentence. Yeah. We're dead as is. So, lesson learned, you need to hit your land drops. And it's possible, actually, that the 5 land hand was entirely keepable. So, here it is in all of its glory. Stasis the deck. Made some changes from the article. Got a pair of different looking spell books in here. Split the bounce spells. And then these one-ofs stayed the same, but added a Forsaken City. Cut down on the number of volcanic islands because we don't really want to draw them unless we absolutely want to cast Ral's Eric. Getting Wastelanded is really tough here. And so we added a fetch land, since fetching for a basic island is just fine. It also makes our Crucible of Worlds a little better. So all of that's fine. Our opponent playing Burn, so how many ways do they have to kill a Deceiver Exarch? I think the answer might be 0 unless they board in some red elemental blasts, which, if they have them, they're obviously boarding in. So our options are fight a long game against Burn, a deck that can play Mountain plus Lightning Bolt, or Mountain plus Rift Bolt, or draw Fire Blast. So game plan naturally good against what we're up to. Or, and if we did that, we would board in the Propaganda and the blue elemental blasts are coming in anyway. So let's get these in. And we can't take out the Jaces since they're actually our only win condition. But sort of interesting thinking about what to cut. Probably a Ral's Eric and a Force of Will. All of their cards basically look the same, so Force of Will not great. Whereas these other counters pick up lands, which is valuable. I'm biased because we drew 3 of our 6 planeswalkers in our opening 6. So I'm not thrilled about it. I think Crucible is not Crucible. Shackles is too slow. 3+2 mana to steal a Goblin Guide ain't cutting it. Whereas Propaganda obviously does a lot of work against Young Pyromancer, for instance. So, let's try this and see if we can fight an honest game. Okay, so one lander has stasis, but I think we're just mulliganing here. I think that it's way too greedy to hope to draw a bunch of lands. And we can do better on 6. Speaking of doing better on 6, this is what I think doing better on 6 looks like. So we've got Ancestral Vision, we've got Stasis, we've got Ral's Eric, so we've got a plan going along. The plan is Stasis plus Ral's Eric. And they can't Red Elemental Blast everything that we are going to try and cast that's blue. And they might not even have Red Elemental Blasts. They might just be disciplined and sticking to cards that deal us damage. Although, this Goblin Guide, a very good card at dealing us damage. Okay. So, We're going to draw a Stasis. Our Brainstorm is going to effectively draw us a card, assuming that one of the top 3 cards is a land. And even if it's not, I think we just want to hit our land drops anyway. But yeah, I'm happy firing off this Brainstorm here, looking for a free card. And we find one, so that's good. And we even get to Blue Elemental Blast their Goblin Guide, which is going to save us a ton of life. And we can't slam Stasis this turn, I don't think. But yeah, just giving Burn a repeatable source of damage is basically letting them have Archivist in play from turn 1, right? Like, if you think of Burn as being a deck filled with cards that deal damage and then go away, Goblin Guide is just Archivist. It's terrible to let that thing live. It's like one of the best cards against us. So we get to play our Ral Zarek just in time. And we don't really care what happens here. You know, they break their Arid Mesa, we untap our land, which is, you know, totally fine. The bigger deal here is getting Ral Zarek to 5. So next turn, we're stasising them. We're only really soft to Sulfuric Vortex right here. So they're not redirecting. And I think we might actually be able to pull this one out. So tap this, untap that. Make them use their mana. Okay, so they've got nothing. We have Stasis. So we've got Ral Zarek Stasis going. We've got Ancestral Vision suspended. If they have Red Elemental Blast, that's actually awesome because we've got the second Stasis. Yes. Yes. All right. Okay. Doing it. So tap that one, untap that one, and yeah, now our opponent basically has to peel a land 3 times in a row and have a 1 damage thing in his hand each time. And this Daze negates one of those. We're definitely ultimating Ral Zarek next turn. There's no question in my mind. Absolutely none. Immediately Daze this one. Dazing a Fire Blast is a big game. Okay, so we get Chain Lightninged. We could Chain Lightning them back just to make them feel the pain, but it's not worth the mana. Like, how many times do you ever get to Ultimate Ralzeric in Legacy? I want to know. God, yes. Spellbook? Deal. Book it. Flip 5 coins. I win the flip. I lose the flip. I win the flip. I win the flip. I lose the flip. 3 extra turns. Put it in the books. Turn 1. Peel 3. This deck is awesome. Yep. Play Reliquary Tower. Tap that, untap that. So, what is the best way forward here? So we could brainstorm for a Chain of Vapor. I think that's probably the best that we're doing right now. Just a way to... Okay, so that's not happening. This extra Stasis and Ralzeric can get out. Okay. Our opponents had enough, but we are going to, Ralzeric pay, play another land, take another turn, and then have Jace plus Ralzeric. So that's basically how you get people. You have 5 ways of sort of keeping a stasis going. You've got these 4 Rals and the Crucible of Worlds. And then sort of 5 ways of colding their upcurve plays with Frozen Ether and, again, Ralzeric. But Blue Elemental Blasting the Goblin Guide was a huge part of that game. Like, it's important that we understand how big killing the 2 damage a turn was, given sort of how the game played out. So this one's a snap keep if I ever saw one. 2 land Stasis Spellbook, Counterspell Brainstorm. Can't possibly lose. Goblin Guide gonna put us on a bit of a clock, but I think we're gonna be fine. We've got our trusty Spellbook. We ain't discarding. We ain't scared. Spellbook, go. The mighty Spellbook. So we're going to take like 6 from this Goblin Guide. But I like all of our cards too much to ship any of them. So our opponent suspends 2 Rift Bolts, passes the turn. We're going to draw this Jace that we're going to shuffle away. Our opponent has 1 more turn. Actually, no. We've got to play Ralzeric. And I think it's probably going to axe their Goblin Guide. So we're going to go to 10 here. 9 from Misty. Alright. I think we're brainstorming plus Chain of Vaporing. So Brainstorm, reveal the volcanic that's in our hand. Get a free card. Ooh, Frozen Ether. That's not bad. We just have a ton of ways to upkeep this stasis. So I don't think we're in the market for this Jace. And we can just draw this island. Smash to smithereens my spell book. Yeah, man, you got it. Chain Vapor, your Goblin Guide. So we are going to go hard with Stasis Forsaken City. And hope that okay, so free card, cool. Hope that our Force of Will buys us enough time. So we will exile a card and pay. Our opponent waiting until our draw step to Fire Blast us? That seems suspicious. Alright. Well. I think we have them mostly locked here. So stack this first, get our Forsaken City. Yeah, we can ship this propaganda for sure. Yeah, we just want to pay with Forsaken City every time, since what we're working towards is getting Ral Zarek online. So we don't have a land drop, which means that we definitely messed up somewhere. So I think we're shipping this Force of Will and untapping Forsaken City. I think Force of Will is actually the worst card in our hand right now. So Ancestral Vision plus Forsaken City probably worth waiting on. So we've got Thwart plus Blue Elemental Blast. Blue Elemental Blast. And our opponent has Lava Spike, which is fine. We go to 1. We can't activate any fetch lands, but I'm fundamentally fine with that. So stack this one first. We'd actually like to stand pat this time. I like all of our cards. And we didn't have 3 tapped islands to return. So. And now we can exile Scalding Tarn to Forsaken City. So, yeah, ship this Tarn. Pay here. And draw land, which is awesome. Definitely in the market for a few of those. So, happily thwarting this one. And yeah, now hopefully we can just peel out of it with like some sort of bounce spell. So, happy removing one of our islands. And yeah, now we're good. We're going to draw Ralzeric, and we're going to draw... Sorry. We have everything. We're going to play Ralzeric next turn. Oh, do we get... Yeah, we get Ancestral this turn. That's awesome. Okay. Ship this Tarn. Oh, No, we have to wait another turn because we can't cast Force of Will. Oh, we can cast Daze. So I guess that's fine. Yeah, we can just Daze a Fire Blast. Tap our Stasis, untap our island. And so eventually, after a very long while, we'll win this game. So get this Force Will out of here. Pay with Forsaken City, basically the best land in the history of Magic. Tap this, untap that. And we are one turn off from Kismet stasising our opponent out of the game. We will exile a Brainstorm. We don't need that one. So now our opponent is on only Fire Blast as outs, and we have Daze for the first one and Blue Elemental Blast for the second one. So I would say we're in a pretty good spot. Sorry. So, exile island, pay for stasis. This Forsaken City has done so much work. My lord. Yeah, so our opponent just on 3 more Fire Blasts in their deck. As the only spells that they're casting for the rest of the game. And we can just go DI with Ralzeric. Yeah, whenever we draw a redundant card, we can ship it, but having 2 counters is a good start. Not really looking to break that one up. All right. And we have found our way to win. And so we'll brainstorm since we haven't hit our land drop yet. So now we don't have to exile a card for Forsaken City, since we can just pay here. And not exiling. So yeah, you can have your land. We just want our opponent to never draw Fire Blast. So they have to hit, yeah, they're dead. We have 3 counters for their Fire Blast. And an island that untaps every single main phase. So we're good. As long as we never misclick with Ralzeric, we're fine. You can have Grim Lavamancer. So now we're actually interested in exiling our Jace and paying with Forsaken City. Get some buffoon cushion in here in case we accidentally untap our Ralzeric and tap our island or something. Stasis, like eggs, wins mostly when an opponent decides that it wins. As our opponent has noted. No, you can have that one, man. We're on turn 20. Who said Legacy was a fast format? Who says that? We're gonna, yep, okay. We're happy with our 3 counters in hand. Let's flip some coins. We can do it. We win the flip, we lose the flip, we win the flip, we win the flip, we lose the flip. Oh, we shouldn't have played that. That's awkward. Whatever. We're fine. I'm a big dummy. Tap that, untap this. Goes to 13. Exile this polluted delta. Pay for stasis. You guys wanted to watch stasis. You specifically said, hey, you know what would be a great thing to watch is stasis. I think that would be a really entertaining thing for you to do, Drew. Why don't you record a bunch of matches of stasis? And here we are, playing stasis. We're doing it. We've got 4 counter spells, and we're taking some extra turns. I'm not really interested in doing that. But, yeah, we've got, some cards. 21 left in our deck. Only, 14 more than our opponent. But, oops. Getting a little punchy here. Let's tap this Scalding Turn so that nothing bad can happen. And, I think we can just brainstorm every turn for the rest of the game. So our opponent boarded in Pyrostatic Pillar. Jeez. Yeah, we can't... It would be difficult to beat that. So... yeah, I think this Frozen Ether card is pretty good. Let's see. Yep, terrible constructed rating, awesome limited rating. Forgiven definition of awesome. Maybe our opponent is... I don't know what our opponent's up to. Okay. I think this is the next turn that they get. I'm also not really sure. Maybe they're having computer difficulties. Maybe their computer is also locked under stasis. Who knows? Also, just enjoying like all of our permanents that shouldn't ever tap being tapped. I don't know. I get a lot out of that. So here we are, paying for stasis, being good citizens. And oh, we drew another stasis. How lucky. Oops. Okay. Now we're getting punchy. All we have to do is pay for stasis 7 more times. So let's put back some cards. Keep one in our hand to untap Forsaken City with. And we are on our way to winning with mere minutes on our clock, as will probably be the pattern of behavior with stasis. So, 5 counters in hand. Our opponent, has nothing going on. Exercising the right to play out the rest of the game. Paying with our Forsaken City. Tap this, untap that. Brainstorming. And all right. We are, for all intents and purposes, done here, having ultimated Raul Zarek twice this match, and winning at 1 life against Burn. I don't know. I'm pretty happy about how this has gone. I really hope that you guys are enjoying the Stasis show. Okay. We're not activating Jace. We're not doing anything. We're just putting the top card of our deck in our graveyard and waiting for our opponent to run out of cards. That's what's going on here. We are doing no more messing around. None of this Forsaken City stuff. We've had our fun. Our opponent has had their fun. We don't need any more turns. We have 7 counters and a bounce spell in hand. It's over. It's over. Our opponent's deck is gone. It's just... we have locked them out. Stasis, Frozen Ether, that's game. Okay. At long last, our nightmare is over. We have won. We have beaten ITOM in 28 turns. The tournament is complete. I'll see you